In this video, we're going to talk about the language of RVing. You're gonna want to stick around to see what we came up with. Hey, welcome back to the Happy Place Diaries. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Teresa.
And like we said in this video, we're going to talk about the language of RVing. So what happened was a couple things. We're in a campground that has about 400 sites in it.
Yes.
And right now, about half of them are tent folks. And those tent folks have lots of RV questions. I was just around the corner talking with a guy and started using RV language, and he was like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. So we thought we would put together a little bit of a video that talked about some of the things that don't make a darn bit of sense when you're talking RV stuff. Let's dive right in.
Dive right in. Let's go.
So, Therese, tongue.
Tongue is on the front of the RV.
Right. So on a travel trailer, your tongue is basically that little A-frame that sticks out, that hooks onto your truck or whatever you're towing with, which brings up tongue weight. My tongue weighs a lot.
That's because you talk so much.
So your tongue weight is super important to know, because your tongue weight is that weight that encompasses the front of your travel trailer onto the hitch of your tow vehicle. And if you exceed that, it can mean some pretty bad things. Now, in a fifth wheel, we have a hitch. And the hitch is underneath the front cap. And then we have hitch weight. And that's not how much the hitch weighs. It's how much weight can be put on the hitch. That goes over the axle of the tow vehicle. So, two different things. And if you're in a class A, B, or C, well, you don't have to worry about that unless you're towing something.
What is that, Jared?
Ahoy, matey! Let's talk about a shoreline.
Oh, mean where the water and the beach meet?
Yeah, either that or it's that rope that you throw to tie the boat. In RVing, it has nothing to do with nautical stuff. It's where you get your power from. So the shoreline is that big cable that you plug in to the electric box, and it runs into your trailer, giving you AC power.
Hey, Jared, what about a dog bone?
Oh, good one. A dog bone is an adapter that goes from 50 amp to 30 amp or 30 amp to 110, and it's just used not to convert electricity but to step down. One thing to remember with dog bones is you don't change the electric output. So just because you use a 30 amp into a 50 box or a 50 into a 30, that's all you're getting. Is whatever your unit is designed for, that's all you're going to get.
Correct.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
How you doing?
Hey, let's talk about hookups at the campground. And no, we're not talking about flamingos and pineapples. We're talking about hookups. And what the hookups are is what you have to hook up. So you can hook up water, you can hook up electric, and you can hook up sewer. And sometimes you don't have any hookups, and that would be
Boondocking.
Boondocking or being off-grid.
Oh, off-grid, yes.
So going back to hookups, we've already talked about the shoreline. That's how you hook up your electric. And if you're hooking up water, you're going to hook it up to city water. So,
but we're camping. We're not in the city.
Well, yeah, you're right. But we are coming off of a plumbed city water system. And so we're going to take our hose and we're going to run it from the spigot directly into our trailer, and we're going to use that water pressure to run all the water in our trailer. If we weren't hooked up, we would fill up our fresh tank, and then we would have to use our water pump to move the water. But when we're on city water, we have water pressure coming from the spigot that allows us to have running water in our trailer.
Got it.
So let's talk about tanks. And you know, being an old Army guy, I love tank support.
Yes, you do.
But being an RV guy, I really like tank support, especially when your tanks are big. So what are we talking about when we talk about our tanks?
That is where the gray water goes.
Gray water?
Yeah.
What is gray water?
Gray water is like shower, when you've taken a shower or when you've done dishes or brushing your teeth.
Right. Gray water is just anything that comes down a sink.
Right.
Or a shower
Right.
drain. And then that gray water goes into gray tanks. And those tanks, all they do is hold. So they're holding tanks. And then you have a tank valve that you can flush that into the city sewer or at a dump station. Or if you're bringing a porta tank, then you could fill that and then go dump from that. So where does all of your wastewater go? Meaning human waste.
That goes to the black tank.
The black tank, right. So it's nice that they call them gray and black because we all think black is something that we don't want to see, right? And that's
Right.
why it's
Called black.
a black tank. You know, you never see them because they're under the underbelly of your trailer, but your black tank is where all of your sewage goes.
Right.
And you want to handle that a lot different than you handle gray. But yeah, the black tank is basically just your,
Glove up for that one.
yep. When we talk about water and tanks and all that stuff, you typically have a wet bay. So where's the wet bay? You don't dock your boat there with the Shoreline, but the wet bay,
Is that where the alcohol is?
that could be where, that would be a wet bar.
Oh, that's true. But we're at the coast, so it
Right.
could be a bay.
So your wet bay is where you plug in your water into your trailer. That's where you also would fill your fresh tank, which is, if you're going to use your water pump, you could fill your fresh tank, which is a holding tank of water that is potable, so you can use that. So your wet bay is where everything connects and everything that has to do with water goes in that. In a lot of cases, that's also where your valves are for dumping that water, whether it's wastewater or whatever. Okay, so that covers water.
Okay.
What are drop-ins? Is that when somebody comes and pays you a visit?
No, not quite. Drop-ins are the chemicals that you put into the toilet, so they'll break up all the waste.
Right. They're like the little things that you put in your dishwasher
The little
or something like
pods.
that. You could throw those down into your toilet. It goes into your tank and it accelerates the dissolving of toilet paper. It breaks down, you know, your hard stuff down there. And it also keeps your tank smelling halfway decent.
If we're going to go mooch docking, what's mooch docking?
Mooch Docking. So Mooch Docking is where you go and you stay at your Uncle Buck's house and he runs an extension cord out from the garage and you park in his driveway or his backyard or whatever. And basically you're mooching his services. So he might have a garden hose that you can hook up to your city water, and that would be Mooch Docking. Now, what about the ever so famous Wally Docking?
Wally Docking is when you find a Walmart and you get to stay in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So you don't get any benefits. You just get to put your trailer or your rig there and get to spend the night. And most of the time we'll go in and purchase something.
Yeah, so Wally
Okay.
Docking, staying at Cabela's, staying at those kinds of things, that would be that. And then, or like a Cracker Barrel,
Right.
things of that nature. Typically when people talk about boondocking, there's no hookups and you're out on BLM land Bureau of Land Management land, and you're out there away from everybody.
No electricity, no water, no sewer.
Nothing.
So you have to fill your tanks before you go out there.
Yeah.
Maybe use your solar panels or
Yeah.
a generator.
And luxury boondocking is like Harvest Host or Boondocker's Welcome, something like that, where you're not hooked up to anything. Most of the time they let you fill your fresh tank there, and there's some services there, maybe a restaurant or a golf course or something of that nature. So you're not really out there in the middle of nowhere. You're in the comfort of something.
Right.
But that's our kind of boondocking. If we're going to do boondock, we like our hookups.
We like our Harvest Hosts.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that some of these tips have helped you all.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but I guess in every lifestyle or our industry, you're going to have terminology that you get to know over time. But it definitely is helpful if you're new to RVing. But yeah, the terminology is definitely something that you need to know and learn. And that way you sound cool when you're hanging around at your next rally.
You know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or you know what they're talking about.
That's the real key. Because when we were new, people would throw out stuff and I would just like, yeah, I totally get it. And then I'd have to go Google it. So anyway, we hope you got a little bit of something out of this, especially if you're new to RVing. If you're one of the old timers and we forgot something, drop that in the comment section below. We would appreciate knowing a term that you use that maybe we don't.
Yeah.
Or we use it and we didn't put it in the video. And yeah, that's cool.
All right. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, we will.
Bye.
Bye. And in this video, we're going to talk about the language of RVing. You're going to want to stick around for this one. And when the dogs stop jumping around and moving the camera everywhere.
We'll get right back to you.
Hey, Therese.
Hey, Jer.
Where's the tongue on the RV?